You know that sudden icy drop in your stomach right before you step up to speak? Your heart starts hammering against your ribs, your palms get all slick with sweat, and suddenly you're wondering why on earth you ever agreed to do this in the first place. Well, if that triggers a familiar sense of panic, I promise you, you are absolutely not alone. Actually, roughly 75% of us suffer from glossophobia. That's the technical term for the fear of public speaking. In fact, research frequently points out that people often fear presenting even more than death itself. Crazy, right? It's this universal dread that can paralyze even the most brilliant minds. But what if I told you that this panic isn't a life sentence? What if we could completely rewire how we approach getting up in front of a crowd?
Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to be diving into this material with you today because we are going to tackle that dread head on. Our goal over the next few minutes is simple, but it's a total game changer. We are going to transform that public speaking panic into confident, structured preparation. By breaking down the science of presentation skills into a really actionable framework, we're going to turn what feels like an uncontrollable ordeal into a totally masterable skill. Let's get into it.
Here's our roadmap for today. First up, conquering presentation anxiety. Second, the blueprint for success. Third, the power of visual aids. Fourth, mastering Microsoft PowerPoint. And finally, final equipment and delivery checks.
Kicking things off with Section 1, Conquering Presentation Anxiety and Understanding That Fear.
So, why do we actually fear public speaking? Well, the source material reveals something super interesting. This anxiety is rarely about the topic itself. Instead, it stems from this profound worry about future events. It's the fear of the unknown. It's that terrifying prospect of losing control in front of a group of your peers. And, it's often compounded by having zero enthusiasm for the subject or simply having absolutely no backup plan if things go off the rails.
When you combine all those fears, your brain literally hits the panic button. You enter full-blown fight or flight mode. This worry about the event manifests physically. We're talking shaky hands, blushing cheeks, waves of nausea, and maybe the most terrifying one of all, sudden memory loss. Your brain is essentially trying to escape the situation, which is exactly why your perfectly rehearsed introduction just completely vanishes, leaving you staring blankly at the audience like a deer in headlights. But here's the thing. Recognizing these symptoms as a totally natural physiological response to lacking a backup plan, that is the very first step in neutralizing them.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Blueprint for Success, where preparation is absolutely key. Good preparation is actually incredibly structural. First, you've got to set a clear purpose. Like, what exactly is the overarching goal of your talk? Then comes Step 2, which is absolutely critical: audience analysis. You need to know their demographics, their baseline knowledge of your topic, and their motivation level for even being there in the first place. Step 3 is where people constantly drop the ball: mapping the space and time. You have to know the date, your time limit, and the physical environment. How are the seats arranged? What's the flow of the room going to be like? Only when you know your purpose, your audience, and your environment do you finally move to Step 4, gathering your evidence and outlining your main points.
Now, when it comes to actually executing this plan, a huge mistake people make is trying to memorize every single word. And paradoxically, doing that actually increases your chances of that dreaded memory loss we talked about. The source material strongly emphasizes that your outline should rely on keyword reminders instead. Using keywords rather than a full script lets you maintain a natural conversational flow. It gives you the flexibility to adapt to your audience in real time, which makes you look infinitely more confident and way less rigid.
All right, Section 3, the power of visual aids. Seeing is believing.
There's a quote directly from the source that is totally foundational here. Images and diagrams can take less time for explaining a concept compared with words. So what does this actually mean for us? The crucial takeaway is that visual stimuli, combined with your oral delivery, massively improve audience comprehension. Visual aids are there to shoulder the burden of explanation. They support your claims, they illustrate complex ideas, and they provide a lasting impact. Plus, they add some much-needed variety to your presentation, giving your audience a necessary mental break from just listening to you talk.
And you have a massive arsenal at your disposal here. You're definitely not limited to just one medium. You've got tech tools like MS PowerPoint, films, video, and overhead projectors. But don't sleep on the physical tools either. Handouts, flip charts, posters, and sketches are all incredibly effective. Choosing the right tool from this diverse list depends entirely on that audience and space analysis we were just talking about a minute ago.
Let's zoom in a bit for Section 4, mastering Microsoft PowerPoint and its key design rules.
Because PowerPoint is arguably the most common tool we use, it's really important to recognize that while it's super versatile, it's also incredibly easy to misuse. This is where presenters often accidentally create anxiety for their audience and commit what we affectionately call death by PowerPoint. A bad slide is packed with dense paragraphs, tiny fonts, and low contrast that just makes viewers squint and completely disconnect. It basically invites the presenter to turn their back and read an entire essay off the screen. No one wants that. A good slide, on the other hand, follows the golden rules. Use fewer slides overall, ensure your font size and style are highly visible, and always maintain high contrast between the background and the text. To make sure your slides are actually helping and not hurting, stick to these rapid-fire best practices straight from the source material. First, use bullet points and short sentences, never full paragraphs. Second, choose an appealing, consistent template. This is so vital because a consistent theme prevents visual fatigue and keeps the audience's focus firmly on your content rather than erratic formatting. Third, make sure you're labeling charts and graphs appropriately. And finally, actively use art, clip art, and images to actually convey a message rather than just using them as digital wallpaper to decorate the screen.
We are in the home stretch. Section 5, Final Equipment and Delivery Checks for the Day of.
Listen, if you take nothing else away, remember this absolute golden rule of presentation tech. Never, ever assume that your perfectly crafted presentation will just magically work fine on another computer. It won't. Different operating systems, missing fonts, weird software versions, these are the unknown variables that trigger that exact fight or flight response we talked about at the very beginning. To eliminate those variables, you've got to execute this final checklist with absolute urgency. Show up early to verify that the equipment works properly. Turn your screensaver off. Seriously, nothing kills a natural conversational flow like having to log back into a laptop mid-sentence. Check all your colors on the actual projection screen before you start, because projectors love to wash out that high contrast you worked so hard on. And lastly, for your physical delivery, just be mindful of the space. Be careful not to stand right in front of the screen and physically obscure the audience's view of your brilliant visual aids.
And that brings us full circle. By understanding the root of our anxiety, building a solid blueprint based on our audience and space, utilizing clear visual aids, and strictly adhering to that day of checklist, we totally remove the fear of the unknown. You don't just survive the experience anymore, you master the skill. When you strip away the panic, what is left is pure, effective communication. So looking ahead to your next presentation, I'll leave you with this. Are you going to let the fear control the room, or are you ready to use this blueprint to completely own